Jeff Stanifer, what was the most you ever made in 1 year in WWF? And were you ever a millionaire?
I honestly don't like to talk about money. It's never been my thing. But in the 90s, they didn't pay as much as they would now. You know, but I was, at one time, I was probably the 5th highest paid.
Okay.
And I was the only person, well, I was the only girl that ever got first class airfare. And the only other people that were flown first class was Brett, Sean, and Taker, and me. We're the only people flown first class. Everybody was in coach, including Steve Austin. I used to have to upgrade Stone Cold Steve Austin.
I remember the story, hearing you say
I used to upgrade Owen Hart. I would upgrade Chris. I upgraded Steve. Steve used to ride with me on some towns that if Chris wasn't on the loop, because I had my rental car and everything paid for. I had all my expenses paid for, where the boys didn't. So once the boys started finding this out, they would jump in my car, so it would be for free. Steve would drive me around as my chauffeur. Yeah. I would expense like our meals, so Steve Austin ate on my expense account. Yeah.
How'd you get that deal?
I was changed to a production staff contract instead of a wrestler's contract.
At your request?
No, they offered it to me. And they shortened my days. I only worked 10 days a month and got everything paid for. My clothes, my tolls, my gas, my food, my hotels, my rental cars, first class airfare, you name it. Everything I bought in clothing that I was working at, all I had to do was send in a receipt. I get my check for my expenses. Yeah. One day I got a phone call from Jim Ross, because that's who I had to answer to and send all my expense stuff to. And JR and I have always been very, very good friends. He's always been one of my biggest supporters. And he called me up one day. He's like, I'm about to cut your expense check. I'm like, okay. He goes, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. He goes, what did you eat for breakfast for $98? It was one of the trips I had a couple of the boys with me.
I was going to say, what did Austin eat for $98?
I think there was like 4 of them there. So, you know, I just expensed the whole bill. You know, I would charge it and then send in the receipt and get it back. I said, JR, it's kind of expensive to eat off the menu in a Marriott, because I said I was ordering just grilled chicken breasts and egg whites off the menu, and like it adds up. He's like, okay. Cut me the check. Thanks, JR.
Jason Worthing, WWFE, is widely known to try to copyright names. Did they ever try to copyright Sonny? I guess they did.
Well, yeah, because they're the ones who named me.
Yeah. Michael Cole, when you studied pre-law, is that the Michael Cole? When you studied pre-law at Wellesley College in Massachusetts, did you know what punches to pull when it came to any wrestling contract you had? And what did Sonny wants?
No, and did Sonny want?
And did what Sonny wants come from this?
Yeah. Okay, Michael Cole, obviously you're a complete mark because you think that was a shoot. Studying pre-law at Wellesley College was my character as Tammy Fitch in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I've never been to Wellesley College in Massachusetts, and I never studied pre-law. I went to University of Tennessee in Knoxville and was pre-med. Get it straight.
There you go. Adam K. sends us this.
Tammy, you and Francine did an interview with Rob a few years ago. During that interview, you had a little bit of flatulence.
We both did.
Rob clearly stated, don't worry about it, I'll edit this out later. Did you ever realize Rob didn't edit out the fart? What do you think about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Franny and I, we went down there together, and we actually stopped for lunch on the way there, and we both had burgers, and it gave us both a little bit of gas. So we're sitting there side by side, and we're basically farting on each other the whole interview. Like, I'd feel like coming and let it rip, and she would do the same thing. So we probably both farted on camera like 5 times each.
Thank you for not doing that thus far today.
Well, I had fish, not burger.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for me. Heat. Ed Farnsworth. Did you ever bury the hatchet with Sable, or is there still heat between you?
I haven't seen her since I left that company, so there has been no hatchet to be buried.
Would you bury the hatchet? This is a new time in your life, talking to people. And, yeah.
Sure, I would. I mean, I wouldn't think more of her because, all right, people haven't heard me say it on interviews before. This is the reason why I don't like her. It has nothing to do with professional work. Nothing at all to do with our spots, our pushes, nothing. We're in the locker room. It was me, Rena, and Terry, and she used to bring her daughter Mariah on the road all the time. She was like 8 years old at the time. And I knew that Mark Merrow wasn't her father. So I asked her one day in the locker room right in front of Terry, I said, hey, you know, where's Mariah's dad? Because nothing was ever said about the guy. She goes, oh, he died when she was a baby in a car accident. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that, because she was married to the guy at the time. I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear that. And she says this, verbatim, no, it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because if he never would have died, I never would have met Mark. So she was internally happy that her husband and baby's daddy died in a horrible car accident to give her a chance to meet Marc Mero. So Terry and I looked at each other like, did she just say what we think she said? So she left the room, and Terry and I had talked about it for like 5 minutes. Like, you've got to be kidding me. She's just like, a piece of shit who only cared about herself and money, and that's pretty much it.
Gotcha.
So Terry and I both lost respect for her that very instant.
The one Adam Kay on the last Godwin shoot, Dennis Knight said he hates only 2 people in the wrestling business, Ric Flair and Sonny.
That'd be news to me because we've known each other since USWA days. He was Tex Slashinger.
Never a problem.
No, he used to babysit my puppy on the road too.
So it was a joke.
Probably. I just saw him at a convention. When was that? Not too long ago. I forget what convention, and everything was fine.
Gossip. You know something about this.
Mm-hmm.